The wolf doesn't howl to be heard. He howls because it's in his nature. Ascenders, welcome back. Today we step away from the surface-level noise. No gimmicks, no parroted psychology, just pure Sigma energy. In a society that screams louder to be noticed, the Sigma male moves like a ghost with purpose. He isn't trying to impress, but ironically, that's what makes him impossible to ignore. He doesn't dress for the crowd, he doesn't chase approval, he doesn't flirt with status, yet he captivates effortlessly. What most people don't realize is that Sigma males are often far more attractive than even they understand. And no, we're not just talking about good looks, we're talking about presence, mindset, and energy. The kind that turns heads without asking for attention. These 7 signs are not cliches. You won't find he's mysterious or he has a beard here. We're going underground, into the mechanics of real attraction. The kind that operates beneath the radar and hits harder because of it. So if you're watching this and you've ever felt like you were walking alone, misunderstood, or just built different, you're in the right place. Sigma Ascends isn't for followers. It's for lone wolves ready to rise without asking permission. And if you're new here, subscribe now. This isn't just a channel, it's a movement. Let's break it down. 1. The no-sell aura. There's a strange kind of power in a man who doesn't pitch himself. While others are constantly branding, marketing, and performing, the Sigma male walks through life as if he has nothing to prove and everything to protect. This is what we call the no-sell aura. He doesn't sell himself because he's not up for sale. He doesn't overshare. He doesn't explain his silence. And he never overextends just to be liked. That restraint, it triggers curiosity on a subconscious level. People expect men to chase approval, crack jokes, smile at the right moments, and be socially smooth. The Sigma refuses that script. He's comfortable with awkward silences because he doesn't feel awkward in them. He doesn't fill space just to fill it. That restraint becomes rare, and in a sea of neediness, rarity is power. Women especially notice this. While some men signal availability with every gesture, the Sigma's lack of need to be seen makes others crave his attention. The less he gives, the more they want it. This isn't a game, it's wiring. Humans are drawn to what withdraws from them. But here's the kicker. He's not withholding to manipulate. He's just busy living on his own terms. His validation comes from within, and people feel that. That inner security radiates without theatrics. That's why he can walk into a room and never say a word, yet still walk out with everyone asking, "Who was that guy?" The no-sell aura isn't about being cold. It's about having boundaries made of steel and confidence built in solitude. He doesn't beg for attention, but gets it anyway, because real attraction isn't loud, it's silent dominance. 2. The gravity silence ascenders. Imagine this, a crowded room, laughter, noise, people performing their social roles. Then he walks in, doesn't say a word, but everyone feels it. The energy shifts. That's not charisma, that's gravity silence. Sigma males don't fill space with noise, they reshape it with their stillness. That silence, it's not emptiness, it's a signal. A quiet code that says, "I'm not here to please, I'm here because I choose to be." And that calm stillness, it echoes louder than words. Most people talk to be validated. The Sigma talks when he actually has something to say. He doesn't fear silence because he doesn't feel threatened by it. That's the difference. People around him start to notice their own noise. They slow down. They watch what they say, because his presence commands stillness. This kind of silence makes others project onto him fantasies, assumptions, admiration, even fear. And the Sigma, he doesn't correct them. Why would he? Let people wonder. That curiosity becomes magnetism. He lets them fill in the blanks, and that mystery makes him irresistible. Women, in particular, are used to men oversharing, trying to entertain, trying to prove something. But the Sigma, he just is. He doesn't chase attention, he bends it without effort. He doesn't seek to impress. He holds still and watches how others reveal themselves. That calm intensity, it's a rare force, and it pulls. Here's what most miss. The silence isn't an act, it's the byproduct of depth. He thinks before he speaks. He pauses before he reacts. That self-control, that discipline, it's subtle, but it creates a gravitational pull. People feel it, and they return to it again and again. 3. The unscripted confidence. Confidence today is rehearsed. It's loud, it's performative, it's people reading how to be alpha blogs and doing push-ups between Instagram posts. But the Sigma? He doesn't need the script. He's got unscripted confidence, the kind that comes from battle scars, not buzzwords. He's been through failure, he's faced rejection, he's walked alone, sometimes by choice, sometimes because he had no other option. But every step in that solitude built something stronger than charm, self-certainty. The Sigma doesn't puff up his chest to seem strong. He doesn't have to posture or dominate. His power comes from knowing exactly who he is and who he's not. That kind of clarity is unshakable. It shows in the way he moves, the way he chooses his words, the way he's comfortable walking away from anyone, any time, without flinching. People notice it, even if they can't describe it. He's not trying to be anyone. He's not comparing himself to others. He's just locked in on his own path. That's attractive, because most people are lost in the crowd. The Sigma isn't even in the crowd. He's somewhere else entirely, and people chase that energy because it represents freedom. This confidence can even intimidate. Why? Because it's not for show. It's not up for negotiation. And because it's earned, not borrowed. It never cracks under pressure. Whether he's in a job interview or a first date, he doesn't adjust himself to fit the vibe. He is the vibe. Unscripted confidence doesn't just attract women, it earns the respect of other men. The Sigma doesn't have to dominate a room, he just needs to walk through it. People feel the stability, the groundedness, the strength without noise, no pickup lines, no fakeness. Just a man who's been through fire and came out forged, not burned. The mirror breaker effect. Most people don't really know who they are. They figure it out by watching how others respond to them. Smiles, approval, praise, even jealousy. They live as mirrors, constantly reflecting and absorbing feedback just to feel seen. But the Sigma, he doesn't reflect what the world wants to see. He breaks the mirror, and that's what makes him dangerous. Here's the truth. When someone meets a Sigma, they can't figure him out. He doesn't mirror social cues. He doesn't mimic small talk. He doesn't adjust his identity to fit into rooms. And because he doesn't reflect their expectations, people are left to face themselves. This makes people uncomfortable, but fascinated. They don't know how to categorize him. And in a world addicted to labels, that unknown becomes magnetic. It triggers curiosity, confusion, and sometimes even obsession. People want to solve the Sigma like a puzzle. Women especially sense this. They're used to men conforming, trying to match their vibe or appeal to their standards. But the Sigma doesn't play that game. He doesn't try to be safe. He doesn't try to be nice. He just exists in full form. And that authenticity, it's so rare, it's jarring. He becomes a mirror breaker because he refuses to play a role. Instead of being someone's fantasy, he forces them to confront the truth. Not everyone will mold themselves for you. That resistance creates depth. It forces people to feel something real, whether they like it or not. This is the man who makes people question their own identity, the one who triggers introspection without even trying, the one who walks away and leaves people more interested in themselves than they were before he arrived. That kind of disruption, it doesn't fade, it echoes. So if you're the kind of person who doesn't reflect what others want, if you've been called hard to read, too quiet, or intense, that's not a weakness, that's power, that's the mirror breaker effect. and once people experience it, they're never quite the same. 5. The purpose-first frequency. Let's get this clear. The Sigma male isn't driven by pleasure. He's driven by purpose. He doesn't chase dopamine. He doesn't float from one distraction to another. He moves with intention, with clarity, with a mission, and that singular focus. It radiates a frequency that others can't ignore. While most people chase validation, approval, or status, the Sigma is locked into something deeper. Whether it's building a business, mastering a craft, writing a book, or just becoming stronger mentally, he's always building, always climbing. That kind of energy doesn't seek attention, but it draws it like a magnet. This is what we call the purpose-first frequency. It's not about being busy, it's about being aligned. Every step the Sigma takes is connected to something internal, and people can feel it. They may not understand it, but they sense the direction, the clarity, the fire. In relationships, this shows up in a powerful way. Women instinctively recognize the difference between a man who is aimless and one who's mission-driven. The Sigma isn't going to drop everything for a text. He's not instantly available, not because he's playing hard to get, but because he's genuinely focused on something greater than himself. That absence, that self-prioritization, it creates longing, interest, respect. Most people are always available. The Sigma, he's rare air. Time with him means something because his time has value, and value is attractive. And here's the secret. He doesn't sacrifice purpose for connection. If someone aligns with his direction, they can walk beside him. If not, he keeps walking. No hard feelings, no drama, just momentum. This frequency isn't something you fake. It's not about being busy for the sake of looking important. It's about being in tune with who you are and what you're building. And when that alignment is real, it shows in everything, from your posture to your silence. So if you've ever been told you're too focused, too intense, or too unavailable, good. That means your frequency is coming through loud and clear. Stay on that signal. Purpose is magnetic, and you're just getting started. 6. The authentic disruptor. In a world where image is everything, authenticity is rebellion. The Sigma male doesn't wear masks. He doesn't code switch to impress different crowds. He shows up as himself, no polish, no pretense, and that raw presence. It disrupts every room he enters. This is what makes him an authentic disruptor. His mere existence challenges people. While others are curating the best version of themselves on social media, the Sigma walks in with his flaws, his silence, and his reality fully intact. No edits, no branding, just truth. That level of realness is rare, and it's unsettling. Why? Because it reminds people of their own act. Most are constantly performing, afraid to be rejected for who they really are. But the Sigma doesn't fear rejection because he doesn't need the crowd to validate him. That's power, and people feel it. This authenticity also commands respect. Not because he demands it, but because people instinctively trust what's real. When he speaks, it cuts through noise. When he listens, it's not to respond, it's to understand. And when he's silent, it's not awkward, it's a challenge. Women in particular are drawn to this. They're surrounded by men who say what they think they're supposed to say. Compliments on autopilot, personality built from dating apps. But the Sigma, he doesn't perform, he confronts. He doesn't sweet talk, he observes. And in doing so, he separates himself from every other man in the room. But this disruption doesn't come from arrogance. It comes from alignment. The Sigma knows who he is. He's done the inner work. He's faced the parts of himself most people avoid. That depth, that integrity, it speaks louder than status or style. So when people say you're too intense, too serious, or too much, don't dial it down. You're not the problem. You're the interruption. You're the wake-up call they didn't expect. You're the authentic disruptor, and this world needs more of you, not less. 7. The eye contact test. There's a difference between looking at someone and truly seeing them. The Sigma male understands this difference and uses it with precision. He's not afraid of eye contact. He doesn't use it to intimidate or seduce. He uses it to observe, to test. That's the eye contact test, and it's subtle but devastatingly effective. Most people use eye contact to gain favor, to connect quickly, or to show interest. The Sigma uses it like a mirror. He watches how people react. Do they hold his gaze? Do they fidget? Do they get defensive? Nervous? He doesn't just look, he reads. Every flicker of hesitation tells him more than words ever could. And what's more intriguing, he doesn't need the connection. He doesn't seek it. That lack of hunger behind the eyes, it's what makes his stare so powerful. It's steady, unflinching, grounded, and it exposes insecurity in others instantly. For women, this is incredibly disarming. They're used to being looked at with desire or desperation. But the Sigma looks at them with presence, not performance. He's not trying to impress. He's just watching, listening with his eyes. That's rare, and rare gets remembered. He doesn't hold eye contact just to dominate. It's about being real. It's about showing he's fully present in the moment. That confidence radiates from the stillness, not the stare. There's no need to play games when your presence already delivers the message. But here's the secret. He doesn't force the test. He lets it happen naturally. When the moment comes, he holds his ground. Not with tension, but with ease. And if someone breaks, that tells him everything he needs to know. He doesn't judge them, but he understands them, quickly, quietly, deeply. This is why the Sigma doesn't need words to make an impact. One look is often enough, not because it's aggressive, but because it's complete. It says, I see you. I'm not playing a role, and I'm not afraid of being seen either. If you've ever made someone uncomfortable just by looking them in the eye without blinking, congrats. You've passed the eye contact test. You're not looking for approval, you're looking for truth. That's Sigma. Ascenders, here's the paradox most people will never understand. The Sigma male doesn't try to be attractive, and that's exactly why he is. He's not in it for the likes, the applause, or the compliments. His life isn't a highlight reel, it's a silent war fought in solitude. And yet his quiet, disciplined presence ripples further than the loudest voice in the room. That's not style, that's substance. The truth is, Sigma attractiveness doesn't sparkle, it burns slow. It's a slow realization others have after he's already left the room. A delayed impact, a haunting presence, a quiet energy that lingers long after the noise fades. Why does it hit different? Because it's real. It's not about haircuts, cars, or forced confidence. It's about conviction, clarity, stillness. The kind of stillness that's earned by standing alone, not because you had to, but because you chose to. And that's what separates the Sigma. He doesn't chase people. He builds paths. He doesn't ask to be seen. He makes it impossible to forget him, not through noise, but through aura. Now here's the part most won't tell you. This energy isn't reserved for a chosen few. If you've felt out of place in crowds, if you've walked your own path even when it was lonely, if you've felt more real in silence than in conversation, you've already got it in you. But potential means nothing without direction. That's why this channel exists. Sigma Ascends isn't here to coddle you. It's not here to hand out fake confidence or ego boosts. It's here to sharpen your edges, to remind you that you're not crazy for moving different. You're just ahead of the frequency. So if you're feeling this, if your blood's humming with that quiet fire, and you're ready to build, rise, and disrupt, this is your call. Don't just watch from the shadows. Step into the ascendancy. Subscribe now, not for content, but for direction, for alignment, for the unfiltered truth that most people run from. Until next time, Ascenders, stay sharp, stay moving, stay untouchable. We don't rise to be seen. We rise because we can't stay down.